Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the second part of the video, the transit of the year, Jupiter in Aries. I think you all are already feeling it. I'm feeling it for sure. So in this part, I'm going to talk about how it is going to have an impact in various signs. So you can either relate it to your ascendant sign or your moon sign, where your first house is placed or where your natal moon is placed in your chart. Now, this can be linked to both, the physical sort of results and the results on the mental aspect. So if you link it with your ascendant, it is more towards the material aspect or the physical aspect. If you relate it with your moon sign, then it is more at the mental level. And you can also conclude that, based on the ascendant sign and moon sign, if you have positive results for both these signs, so this overall transit is quite positive for you. If you have, let's say, negative results, then it could be a bit challenging if both ascendant and moon has negative results. And if one of these signs has positive and the other has a bit of on the negative side, then you can perhaps see that the results are mixed. Okay. Now, one thing that which I want to perhaps share is that any transit depends on primarily the dasha that you're going through, the Mahadasha, Antardasha, or Pratantardasha. If Jupiter is playing a role, if you are going through Jupiter Mahadasha, then quite certainly you are going to have an impact of this transit. If you are going through the dasha of Ketu or Venus, then also you're going to have an impact of this transit, because during this transit, Jupiter is primarily going to be placed moving through the nakshatras of Ketu and Venus, which is Ashwini and Bharani. If you're going through Mars Mahadasha, this is likely to have an impact on you because Aries is ruled by Mars. If you're going through a Mahadasha of any planets placed in the sign of Aries or in the sign of Libra, then you are going to have an impact. Also, if you're going through a Mahadasha of any planets that are placed in the sign of Leo or in the sign of Sagittarius, then also you're going to have an impact. So I can say that 60% of the people in this world are going to have an impact of this transit somehow. Okay. Now, interestingly, if Jupiter in this transit is aspecting any of the planets in your natal chart, Jupiter is aspecting the sign of Leo, it's aspecting the sign of Libra, and it's aspecting the sign of Sagittarius. So any planets it is expecting, or it is moving over any planets that are placed in the sign of Aries in your chart, then this is a very fortunate time period, because Jupiter is going to bestow a blessing on these planets. It is going to give it further strength. It is going to make it more better, for you. Now, on a very general level, what is the message of this transit? The key message of this transit, ninth lord and the natural 12th lord going into the first house ascendant, it is the time of great reset. It is the time for putting your spiritual plans into practice, into action. It is the time for action. It is the time for restarting. It is the time for putting all your knowledge that you've been gaining over the last 2 years or so into practice. It is the time to look at the higher realm. It is the time to perhaps obtain your spiritual pursuits. It is also the time to help those in need, to give it back to the society, to give it back to the world. This is what this whole 1 year from April 22nd till 1st of May 2024 is really all about. This is about finding a guru for yourself, a mentor for yourself. This is also the time to learn. And the best way we learn is by sharing our knowledge and experience with others, by talking about what we learn, by giving it back to the people. So these are the key messages, of this transit. Jupiter is transiting through a fire sign, and Jupiter is wisdom. Jupiter is dharma. It is the karaka of second house of wealth, family. It is the karaka or significator of the fifth house of children, of the future, planning, putting things in action, and also the kingdom. It is also the karaka of the ninth house, which is the house of fortune, which is the house of dharma, father, lineage, long distance travel. It is also the karaka of the 11th house, which is the house of gains, which is the house of your social network, your friends, which is house of expansion, which is also one of the important houses when it comes to growth of your own self. So this is a very important transit for all of us. Now let's talk about, to begin with, Aries ascendant. How this transit is going to have an impact on Aries ascendant at a mundane level. So, Aries ascendant, Jupiter is going to be transiting your first house. If you're an Aries ascendant sign or the moon sign, it is going to be transiting through your first house or over your moon if you're linking it with the moon sign. Now, while being here, Jupiter is your ninth and the 12th lord. It is transiting in the first house, all right? So, I mean, mostly this transit is extremely positive, it's extremely favorable. In a transit, it is creating an important yoga wherein a trinal lord is coming into a Kendra house. So, cornal lord is coming into a quadrant house. So, it is creating an important yoga. From this place, Jupiter is aspecting your fifth house, your seventh house, and your ninth house. Okay, so this is where Jupiter is aspecting, some of these houses. So it's going to elevate the qualities of these houses, the grahas that are placed. So this is time to really put things in action, right? Fortunes favors the brave. Okay, and it is time for you to go out, expand your horizon, expand your own inner self, and go out, into the people. Really get out of your shell. I think last year or so, people who are Aries have been really, living back in their shells, perhaps least interested in the external world of things and events. So this is the time to perhaps, go on long distance journeys, put your plans into action, really focus on sort of, some of the dharmic activities or perhaps spiritual pursuits that you were to, sort of achieve, because this is a favorable transit because your ninth lord is transiting in the ascendant, and it is aspecting some very important houses as well. Those who've been perhaps waiting to find the right match or the partner or get married, if the dasha is favorable, if your timing is supportive, this can be a positive transit in that aspect. Okay, now those who are looking forward to perhaps settling abroad or getting a permanent residency outside of your homeland, this is a very good time because your ninth and the 12th lord is in action. It is in your ascendant, so it will support you in terms of making certain decisions, putting that into practice. So I could say that between June till November is perhaps an excellent time to put these pursuits in place as Jupiter moves through Bharni. Interestingly, in my previous video, I mentioned that during this time, two houses are such, or two signs are such, wherein you are going to witness, some positive results there. Okay, which is the sign of Scorpio, which is your eighth, house, and is also the sign of Pisces, which is your 12th house. So you're going to, sort of see positive results of these houses. So this in some minor health issues, some sudden changes, that it could perhaps bring in. But this will certainly, elevate your interest into helping others, supporting others. And that's the biggest, remedy for you, is to go out there and support those who are in need, and also learn, upskill yourself, and give it back to the society. So this is about Aries, a very favorable transit, and I wish you a very good year ahead. Now, let's talk about Taurus ascendants or Taurus moon signs. Okay. For Taurus, Jupiter becomes the 8th and the 11th lord, and it is having a transit in your 12th house. Okay. So primarily Jupiter is not a very, sort of a favorable graha for you because it does not really rule any of the good houses. It rules the eighth house of sudden transformation, death, also longevity, hidden secrets, occult sciences. We all look, sudden transformation as well from the eighth house, and also the 11th house of gains. Okay, 11th house is also the house of, not being able to control our desires, or perhaps, taking certain steps which could not really have a very good long-term results, for us positively. So all in all, I would say that it's not a very, positive transit per se. Okay, but then Jupiter in this transit is creating a Viparit yoga. So it's your eighth lord that's transiting in your 12th house here. Okay, which means that there will be rise, but after a fall. So you will have to struggle, you will have to make your way through, get back on your feet and rise. So this will have to happen after a fall. This transit can also, increase your expenditure. Now, I always say when a transit increases our expenditure, our income should also increase because it is interrelated, with each other. So I think something that you need to be mindful of or cautious of is to take control on your expenditure. Okay, just wash that out, right? Spend on good things. Keep control on your pocket for that matter, because this can really lead you in a challenging position. Also, from a health perspective, it's not a very, sort of a favorable, transit here because this could give you some minor health issues here. But then Jupiter's aspect on fourth house and sixth house, and also on the eighth house, is protecting. It's protecting your general satisfaction, your happiness. It is protecting you from any severe health or diseases, which is the sixth and the eighth house. So it's sort of protecting, those spaces at least. It will help you overcome, it will give you a lot of enemies, but it will help you eventually overcome this competition, overcome these enemies. So it's time to go out there, but make sure that you spend some time in the morning doing yoga, meditation, or take up some of the spiritual practices, because that's what 12th house will help you move in a positive direction. So this is important for Taurus ascendant. So I won't say, I would say that not a great transit, because your 12th house currently is going through a stellium of planets as well, because there's Rahu, there's Jupiter, there's Mercury, Sun. So and also post the eclipse, it's got this complex conjunction, energies are there. So over the next 3 or 4 months, you have to be cautious. But then everything will depend on the dasha. If you have a favorable dasha in place, this transit will have a very minimum impact on you. But yoga and meditation are the key for Taurus ascendants to help you rise after a bit of challenge. Okay, let's talk about Gemini ascendants. Okay, Gemini ascendant. I would start by saying this: though Jupiter was transiting Pisces, its own house, in your 10th house, but from a material perspective, from a life perspective, it was not a extraordinary transit. It would not have given you much of benefits there, right? There's a reason for that. Okay, Jupiter rules 7th house and 10th house for Gemini ascendants. Okay, two kendras. Jupiter also suffers from Kendra Adhipati dosha. Jupiter also becomes the Badaka planet for you, which is creator of obstacles. So any house it transits to, it is likely to bring obstacles, in the matters of those houses as well. Okay, so that is also to be taken into account or consideration, right? So that is why I think last 1 year has not been quite positive. But there's good news now. The good news is that Jupiter is moving in the 11th house. So Badaka getting into this particular house is considered favorable from a transit perspective. Jupiter is also the Karaka for the 11th house. Okay, and from this house, it is going to aspect your 3rd house, your 5th house, and your 7th house. Okay, so this indicates some sort of change. Okay, firstly, those who are looking forward to professional growth or development or upgradation, promotions, new opportunities, which has been halted for a while. So now is the time for that to materially, prosper and fructify based on the dasha time period that you have. Okay, now Jupiter is going to give you short journey, short trip. It's going to put a lot of focus on your communication. Okay, will help you plan for your future, support your children, those who are expecting a child or planning to have children. This is quite a favorable transit for them, and also from the marital perspective as well. If those who've been looking forward to a match or a partnership or some sort of an agreement, if your 7th house is favorable, if your 7th lord is favorable, if the dasha is favorable, now is the time to put that in action. Okay, so there are gains at workplace, particularly post June. So June through November is when you will really see, some financial gains, which could be, remarkable in nature. Prospects of marriage. One thing that Geminis need to be mindful of is stay away from greed, stay away from any false practices, because the Rahu sitting out there in your 11th house till about October will somehow force you will convince you go for false practices for your own gains, but just be mindful of it. Just take the path of Jupiter, right? Do your prayers, offer what the sun in the morning, and it will really support and boost your career and your profession. So all in all, a better transit, I would say, compared to Jupiter in Pisces for Gemini ascendant. Okay, let's talk about the Cancer ascendants. Okay, interesting transit for Cancer ascendants because for Cancer, Jupiter becomes your sixth lord and your ninth lord. So Jupiter becomes your Bhagesh as well, the lord of fortune. Okay, now it is transiting the 10th house. Okay, so for Cancer ascendants, Jupiter is one of the favorable planets. It is a Yoga Karka Graha for Cancer ascendants. Okay, because it rules your ninth house, which is an important trine. It supports your fortune, and it transits through the 10th house, which is a very important Kendra, would eventually now give you that stability. So even last 1 year, Jupiter's transit have been mostly favorable if other conditions are supportive, but now it's really time for your fortune to convert into action. Your results of your learning, the results of your education, the results at your workplace would really give you that stability during this period, would really support you in having another source of income, because from here Jupiter is going to aspect your second house, your fourth house, and your sixth house. So it's going to open multiple avenues of income, multiple avenues of saving. It is also going to support your happiness. There was a real estate deal or a property that you were looking at. Now is the time to put that in action. And this will also help you, in terms of your daily routine, and the prospects of job are going to have a significant improvement. So there could be some great opportunities, that could come your way while Jupiter transits, this house here. So really need to put your actions forward. You really need to put your thinking on the ground. If other things are favorable in your chart, right? So this is really your time. This is really your year to fructify certain positive results of Jupiter. What do you need to do to maximize this transit? Okay, respect your guru, your mentors, your teachers, because this is something which Jupiter would expect you to. Okay, like I mentioned for the sort of previous ascendants as well, you can relate to it, that wherever Scorpio falls in your chart and wherever Pisces falls in your chart, okay, that those houses are going to have some sort of positive impact as well. Okay, so here it is going to have a positive impact on your fifth and your ninth house, right? Prarabdha karma, the fruits from the past, and now they are going to be implemented in the future. So that is the kind of blessing which Jupiter is bringing forward. So I mean, best wishes for this transit, and I hope that the Cancer ascendants make the most of it. The only thing you have to be mindful of is your thoughts. Okay, if they are wavering, so that's something which you need to perhaps have more control on through meditation, through pranayam, through yoga, through exercise, through workout. That is how it will strengthen Aries and Scorpio as well in your chart, right? That is what Mars is all about. So time to take things in action, go for new opportunities, exercise regularly. This is for Cancer ascendants. Now let's talk about Leo ascendant. Okay, for Leo ascendant, again an interesting transit, because Jupiter here becomes your fifth lord and the eighth lord. So your fifth lord and the eighth lord is transiting through your ninth house. Okay, ninth house is also the house where Jupiter becomes the Karaka or the significator of that house. Okay, now previously Jupiter has been transiting through the eighth house. That would really not help to a great extent in a beneficial manner. Would perhaps bring in a lot of sort of ups and downs or sort of frequent changes. But here Jupiter currently is conjoined Sun, your Lagna Lord, transiting through your ninth house as well. So a perfect timing to kick off this transit, because that matters as well. When the transit starts, what are the combinations, associations which are there? But Rahu being placed there as well would distract you, would still keep you in a state of an illusion or confusion to move away from the path of righteousness. But this is where Jupiter demands you to stay. I mean, one thing which Leo ascendants are going to do a lot this year is occult sciences, Jyotish, because your fifth, eighth, ninth houses are activated. So go for it, covering that hidden knowledge. Go for studying occult sciences such as Jyotish. Okay, fortune is certainly in your favor. So you're moving, from that transformational path to now much more stable path where fortune should favor you, the blessings of Jupiter, the blessings of your guru or your teacher. So that's something which you must take away. I mean, this is the right time to perhaps find that mentor, find that teacher, find that guru who can perhaps help you make the most. Also, from the Leo ascendant and moon sign perspective, those who are looking for changing their residence, moving to another country or a foreign land, or perhaps away from their homeland, this is a perfect timing till a long-term residency or at least a long-term move, within the next year or so. Particularly quite favorable after June, is what I would say. Okay, so this is a good time for it. There could be some minor health issues, some minor ailments, which one needs to be mindful of. So continue to, exercise, meditate, I mean, eat healthy. And this is, again, sort of a general, remedy for all. That yourself, don't end up expanding yourself to, what you are at present. So watch what you're eating. I mean, that will really play a role because Leo ascendants need to take care of their gut, during this transit. So that is the only word of caution that I will give to Leo ascendants. But now, from a path of, instability, you're moving to a stable path where fortune favors, and Jupiter is there to bestow his blessing. And some important houses which it's aspecting from here. It is aspecting the first house, which is your ascendant. It is aspecting the third house, okay, which is the house of communication, short distance travel. This can also support you get a physical residence outside of your homeland. And this is also aspecting your fifth house, which is very supportive towards children, towards your future planning, towards really attaining some sort of a position in the society or at your workplace. So this is something which Jupiter will favor. So all in all, quite a favorable transit for the next 1 year, considering its timing, because it coincides when Sun is exalted, and both your Lagna Lord and Jupiter are there to bless you and focus on some of these remedies to support you through this transit. Okay, now let's talk about Virgo ascendants. Okay, for Virgo ascendants, again an interesting transit because Virgo, Jupiter rules your fourth house and it rules your seventh house. So it becomes ruler of two kendras, but then just as Gemini's, Jupiter becomes a Badaka or the lord of obstacles for you. This also perhaps suffers from Kendra Adipati dosha. Jupiter here is transiting through your eighth house. Okay. Now, before this transit, it was perhaps moving through your seventh house. It would have given you some comfort as well, but some discomfort too. With regards to matters of the seventh house. But eventually, it made you a pretty strong and a better person over the last 1 year. There would have been lessons learned. Okay. Now is the time to focus more on your health, and I would say focus more on the pursuit of happiness. You need to get avenues, look at things that can bring joy, that can bring happiness. Okay, so that is something which Virgo ascendants or moon signs should be, looking at. The other interesting fact is that the Badika is going through a pretty weak position in transit. Okay, so this could be favorable if you're going through a favorable dasha. Okay, so that matters quite a lot. But be prepared for sudden changes. Be prepared for transformation. Be prepared for some rough weather conditions that can come your way, which you would not expect or can't even think about it. Just be mentally prepared to absorb these changes, to really, not get into a denial mode, but more in exploration mode. Okay, the change is here. Let me explore. let me put my foot. Step into the situation. Don't step away. Don't run away from the situation. So this is the kind of message which Jupiter is going to give you, because it is also activating your third house. Okay. And at the same time, it is also activating your seventh house. Okay. So you're going to witness some positive results of these houses, right? So those who had some sort of marital issues, there is a possibility that it could bring some sort of an improvement with relations to your spouse's family, some sort of an improvement or communication with your own spouse. That is going to help you. Okay. So look for the happiness. So from the eighth house, Jupiter is going to aspect your 12th house, Jupiter is going to aspect your second house, and Jupiter is going to aspect your fourth house. Okay. So from the 12th, it will make sure that you do not spend a lot of money. It will make sure that you get a good night's sleep, which is important, which have been missing for the last few months. So that's something where you start putting more focus on. In the second house, it will help you stabilize your income. It will help you support your family, improve your relations with the family itself. And from the fourth house, it will help you to focus more on finding ways that makes you happy, that makes you, satisfied. So that's something which you need to aim for. Okay. But then if you are receptive to change, this could be a good transit for you. But then if you get into a denial mode, this could be extremely challenging. So here it is from Aries through Virgo. In the next part of the video, I'm going to discuss how this transit is going to have an impact for Libra ascendants all the way through Pisces ascendants. In case you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon, share it with your friends. If you wish to book a personalized consultation, check out the links to my website below and feel free to reach out to me. I wish you all the very best, and thank you.